Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to episode 12 of the Hightide. It's your host Ed here today. Today I've got a couple of guests on with me. I've got Chase, a returning guest, and my friend Ed. I'll have them introduce themselves in a second. Last time I did a podcast, talked about taking a break. It's been a few weeks, and a week deep into the new semester. I've moved. Everything's coming along decent. Don't have video today. Hopefully in the next couple episodes we'll have some video up and going. Everything's kind of a work in progress, transitioning and shit, but my room's coming along pretty nice, so I'll probably post a video of my room pretty soon. Let you guys peep the setup and everything. But without further ado, Chase, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. How about you?
I'm alright, man. I'm vibing with the new place.
Yeah, we just moved in, like 2 weeks ago?
Give or take, yeah.
I'm loving it so far, honestly. I mean,
me too, man.
We're setting it up where it's gonna be clean. You know?
Yeah, were you talking about how, like, our old place that we lived at never really felt like home, bro? This place felt like home pretty quickly.
Yeah, like, instantly, almost. I don't know, just some kind of draw to it.
Absolutely. How you doing, Ed?
I am good, but you two motherfuckers said this place was haunted, and I don't live here. So I've been pretty creeped out since they fucking told me that.
All right. So I won't say specifically where we're living. Obviously, I don't want to put that shit out there. But I will say this place that we're living at this house was supposedly. I haven't done the research myself. I don't know if you have, Jace, but we were told by the landlord that this place was built in the 1770s. Was originally a layaway for railway workers, and then it was a brothel.
A fucking brothel.
Yes, a fucking brothel. And supposedly the place is haunted. He was like, a lot of people have said it's haunted. Really, it's just an old house. It creaks, yada, 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 right? So, been living here for a couple weeks, and I got like hardwood floors in my room, right? And so I've been sweeping and mopping like just about every fucking day. And randomly, I'm just sitting in the middle of my room in my DX racer chair. I fucking look down, and I see a fucking tooth. And I'm just like, I didn't know what it was at first. I pick it up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like a straight old-ass, like, human tooth. And we had a snowstorm, so there was like a foot of fucking snow outside. No way I tracked it in from outside.
Yeah, you had literally just cleaned it.
And my dog has some stank-ass breath, dude. So I was like, oh, maybe my dog lost a tooth, shit. And I'm like, no, this is like a straight human tooth. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It was really, really suspicious.
It's a weird thing to find, especially after you clean your room. Like,
yeah.
That makes it so much more weird.
Because, like, fucking, we had our one buddy over the other night, and he rolled a blunt, and he got cigar fucking shit all over the floor. So I remember sweeping up that night, and it was like the next day I found this tooth on the floor. So I don't know, maybe somebody came over and just, like, lost a tooth, but...
Well, not only did the tooth happen, but we've also had other shit happen, too.
Oh, yes.
Like, the other night, me and you both heard footsteps going up the stairs.
Right, but the stairs creak when you go up, and there was no creaking, but there was straight elevating footsteps.
Yeah, and we asked Franz, and he said he went to bed probably, 3?
Yeah, no, I was hearing it throughout the night. And even if it was Franz, I don't think that he physically went up and down the stairs the amount of times.
It wouldn't have happened like that. Yeah, it was like an hour straight.
Yeah.
And have you ever had any ghost experiences?
I've never had a ghost experience, but I'm a big fan of the Ghost Adventure show. And sounds like you motherfuckers have yourself a ghost.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's possible.
I would call Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures, and he could sort your shit out for you. Because I ain't getting involved in that fucking shit. Ain't no way in hell.
Part of me doesn't want to get involved with it, but part of me does, like, just to find out, you know what I mean? Because
we got that ghost hunting kit, right?
Yeah, we have the ghost hunting kit. We
just gotta get batteries and shit.
Like, I just never had, like, an actual ghost experience. And I feel like I would kind of like to have that.
I did that shit with you guys, but as long as I'm sober enough to drive home after, I'm fucking down.
Another thing I forgot to mention, too, is I've got a little chihuahua, right? Pablo. And, Chase, you were telling me that dogs can see ghosts, right?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily that they can see ghosts.
They can just
it's more so that they can sense it and where it is.
Right, because, like, I could understand, like, he does bark at the wind and, like, shit outside sometimes. But, like, my window's on the left side of my room from where I'm sitting, right? And, like, he won't be looking anywhere towards the outside door, towards the outside walls, the window, nothing. Like, we'll just be chilling in my room. He'll be in the middle of the room, and he'll just, like, whip his head around and just start growling at, like, nothing, dude. And, like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just...
Yeah, it's definitely kind of sus. I mean, comes out of nowhere. I mean, just the other night you were reading your book.
Oh, I think my dog was just fucking with me. Yeah, so
Yeah,
listen to this,
fucking.
Ed. So I'm writing the book and shit.
Just to let everybody know, there's two Eds on this podcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Ed
We
forgot
should
to mention that. Eddie is the one who just spoke. This is
Eddie
his podcast,
and Ed.
and my name is Ed. Just making that clear, I am not Eddie. I am Ed.
Yes. So the other night, right? So I don't know if you know I'm writing a book and whatnot, right? So I'm writing this book, and I decided I was gonna read a chapter to Chase, and I'm sitting there just fucking reading a chapter, and my dog, dude, like gets up to the chair and is like fucking standing up, putting his paws up on the chair, and he'd wait till I start reading, and he's just fucking with me so hard, dude. And then I'd be like, Pablo, shut the fuck up, stop it. And then he'd stop, and I'd start reading again, and he'd just start barking again. You just fucking.
Have you ever thought that maybe there's a ghost in your room watching you read that only shows up and shows itself to your dog, or your dog senses it when you're reading because it wants to know what you're reading?
Honestly, no. That's what I thought. Honestly, when it first happened, because the way he was barking, it wasn't at Ed. He wasn't looking at Ed.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be barking you because you're reading.
I think he was trying to defend you, if anything.
Yeah, it's possible. I have a protection spell outside my room. I don't know the efficacy of this actual protection
Honestly, I
spell.
feel like that brought the spirit
Alright,
here.
what the fuck is a protection spell? Please explain that shit to
So
me.
my buddy,
That sounds like some Harry Potter fucking shit.
I actually plan on having this guy on the podcast at some point. His name's Todd, and he's this older gentleman that I met. Everybody calls him Goat. That's his nickname.
Yeah,
Goat?
Not Toad.
Toad?
Sorry.
Yeah, Goat. Yeah, but anyways, so this guy, he's an older gentleman, and he's like in his 40s or 50s. And he was big into like religion, and I think he was a pagan as well as like a satyr. And
He was a satyr?
yeah,
Alright,
which isn't
Hold up,
isn't
gotta
like
explain what a satyr is.
Isn't a satyr a mythical being? Like, with hooves?
no, that's a centaur.
No, there's a satyr that's like a... it's in Percy Jackson. I don't know if it's real.
I've never seen Percy Jackson, because I got laid in high school.
I didn't. That explains it. But
I didn't either. Like twice, maybe. I don't know.
maybe.
I don't remember. I drink a lot.
Anyways, so this particular protection spell, this guy had made this himself, and it's called the Satyr Square. And if you don't know on the podcast, look it up. You can see a picture of it. It says Sator, Satyr, Arepo, Tenant, Opera, Arepo, Tenant, Opera, Rotus. But the way that it lines up, it says Satyr or Rotus, depending on the way you look at it, around the entire edge. Tenant goes down the middle and across in a cross fashion. You can read it up and down and up. It says the same thing. Top to bottom, left to right, and then you can read it bottom to top, right to left, same thing. And just the way that it's just, I don't know, I like it because it's kind of a mind fuck, just the way all the letters like a line up.
Aligns,
yeah, it's cool. But supposedly this is a protection spell, and it's supposed to keep out evil spirits. I don't know if it actually works.
What if it summons evil spirits?
How do you know that the spirit in the house is evil?
Yeah, we don't.
I don't necessarily. I hadn't
Because-
experienced anything. I just had this. This guy moved out and he had left it, and I was friends with his roommate at the time. And his roommate's like, "Oh, this guy left all this shit," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take that fucking protection spell."
Honestly, though,
and I've just had it for a couple years now, so I
Because
just threw it up the second I moved
If it's
in.
if it's not an evil spirit that's in the house, then maybe it's not working.
I mean, this
because
place
it's only-
was a brothel, man. I don't think there's gonna
No.
be any friendly spirits here.
No, well, like the thing is though, I haven't like had any like really like fearful vibes from this place.
Oh, me neither.
Like, I feel like if it was a bad like poltergeist or something, you know, we would have that kind of fear driven into us. But like, I've only gotten good vibes from this place. I mean,
I did get paranoid after I found that tooth.
I mean, that definitely is very
I mean,
sketchy.
you can get paranoid from a lot of things that you do, Ed.
Not really, man. I've chilled the fuck out. I don't even smoke
but
weed anymore.
You ever think that maybe that the ghost your dog was seeing, quote unquote, you guys don't have video, so I did air quotes in case anybody's wondering.
We don't have video, but like,
You can think about it as like could have been an extraterrestrial in your room that you couldn't see.
Dude, I've thought about that before, right? So I've talked about this experience before on the podcast, I think. If you guys have seen that episode, I apologize. But if you haven't, it's new to you, right? So one time at the old place I was living, right? Not the place we all used to have, but the Renaissance. So I'm in my room, right? And I've had this fucking dab torch. I had this dab torch that had been sitting on my floor the entire night. I had this dab torch that had been sitting on my floor in one spot the entire night, had not moved, right? No draft whatsoever, no wind outside, it was just a perfectly normal night, right? Sitting in the middle of my floor, not propped up on anything, nothing around it, right? So that's just sitting there, right? And I'm laying in bed, I'm watching a YouTube video, and this fucking ad pops up. And I'm just thinking, I don't say anything, I'm just thinking in my mind. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't ever want to see this bullshit fucking advertisement ever again, right? It was just like a weird ad. And then, all of a sudden, my phone starts glitching the fuck out, and it just plays that ad over and over again. And I can't turn off my phone, I can't do anything, my phone's just like locked. It's just like playing that ad. And then that dab torch just like falls over. And I had like goosebumps and like my hairs rose on my arm, like I could feel like a presence in the room. And somebody was like, maybe it was a ghost, but I was like, I don't think it was a ghost because aliens supposedly can communicate telepathically. And I literally thought, I don't want to see this ad, and then my phone glitched the fuck out, and then that shit fell. And the fact that I almost like felt like a presence in the room. I'm not saying I don't want to sound like a crazy motherfucker, like I'm not saying specifically that there was an alien in my room, but I'm not gonna say it's out of the realm of possibility either.
I gotta say, I lived in that apartment for almost 2 years, and I never once had any kind of experience or anything with, presence in my room.
Talking about 28?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about the Renaissance.
Oh.
In that story.
Well, I guess I got the wrong apartment, but it could be. I've been watching a ton of Ancient Aliens lately, and let me tell you, some of the shit they talk about on there makes fucking sense.
Dude, it was interesting,
A lot
right?
of it does, yeah.
So
Because you can honestly be a hybrid alien human.
Oh, yeah.
Because they talk about on the show that ancient hominids, we're hominids, obviously. We're just the Homo sapien sapien version. But when there was ancient, like, gorillas and stuff, and chimpanzees, they say that aliens came down and bred with certain groups of the great apes, and that we are descended from. They could have either bred with you or changed the DNA.
That could be true because there was quite an evolution, like from cavemen to now. You know what I mean?
Also,
think about it.
If you
Modern
notice,
humans, the technological advances
so fast.
of the last 200 years are incredible.
yeah, like you look at 1800 compared to 1900, there's not that much of a difference. And you compare 1900 to like now,
2000.
it's fucking insane. Completely different
You go
world.
from 1900 to 2000. In the span of 100 years, we have the internet, television,
Phones.
atomic bombs, cell phones.
I think phones are the biggest invention of the decade. Well, century.
It's like, I'm not a very smart guy, but how in the fuck do you broadcast internet wirelessly? How the fuck does that happen?
They say a lot of the technology we have nowadays came from Roswell.
Yeah, from Roswell. Where was
You
that?
think about
Nevada? Nevada, right?
New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah.
When was the first color television set?
80s,
50s.
50s?
No,
When
I
was
think
Roswell?
TV. I think the first color television was like 60s.
70s.
Like mid 60s.
Yeah, when was Roswell?
47, 48, something like
There
that.
you go. Think about it. The technological advance from 1950 until today is fucking incredible.
It's insane.
Also, the fact that a lot of like the early like UFO sightings and shit came around the time that we developed atomic bombs.
Yeah.
And then, right, so one of the things we want to talk about on this podcast is SpaceX, right?
Yes.
And you think nowadays there's so much shit around UFOs, UFO sightings. We have a UFO sighting that we'll talk about in a little bit here too. But right now there's so much going on around that, but think about what's going on with SpaceX and the crazy advancements that we're making right now with space and shit. It almost makes sense, man.
You know, I read or I heard somewhere that the race to the moon was not a race to the moon itself, but was in fact a race to the moon for alien technology. And if you think about it, who was the first country to develop the internet, television,
United States.
the atomic bomb, all kinds of crazy shit that's happened
It's
in the
just
last 50 years?
Quote unquote coincidence that happened in the United States.
Yeah.
Roswell.
Yeah, it's a coincidence that it happened here in the United States. Granted, in the 50s, we had, you know, very smart scientists and whatnot, but
We developed much quicker than a lot of countries.
yeah, and you know, honestly, the United States has fucked up a lot in its past.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Not gonna, you know,
Technologically speaking.
technologically speaking, we need to advance very far, but we have stalled in the last 20 years.
Honestly, I don't know about that.
Well,
Because honestly, I feel like the invention of the folding phone is a whole new level that we haven't seen before.
And all the shit with SpaceX, too.
the SpaceX and stuff, but the folding phone, the folding smartphone
That's huge, man.
was from Samsung,
Yeah.
which is a South Korean company.
BlackBerry made it too now.
BlackBerry made it, but Samsung was the first to make it.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, how many of these countries have a space program? It's like you go to space and you see some shit that changes your entire outlook on life.
I feel like seeing Earth from like a third point of view, like a bird's eye view. You know what I mean? I feel like that alone would change your life. Like
Because-
just seeing like, okay, I'm a.
I think it would
small-
put things into perspective.
Yeah, like I'm a small little object on this huge ass planet. Like I'm gonna go out. I feel like after I saw that,
Well, I
would
watched
try
an
my
interview
best
with
to
an
go
astronaut
all on
once, and
everything.
he said like he was up on the space station for a couple fucking years or some shit, or like it was, almost a year, something like that, like an extended amount of time. And he said that after he came back down to Earth, he said no matter where he is on the planet, he feels like he's home, as opposed to like being up in space.
Really, you are, because I mean, when you're out in space, you're kind of free floating or free falling.
I mean, if you're in low Earth orbit, you are constantly falling into the Earth.
Yeah, that's why they have the thrusters and shit.
Yeah, like the International Space Station was it utilized. They have their own thrusters on it, but it utilized the space shuttle to keep it in its orbit.
Oh, nice sofa. New Samsung? Where did this come from?
Fucking ads, mate.
Fucking ads on the YouTube, Jesus. You know they're developing ads that you have to say the brand name before you can skip it?
Really?
Yeah, I read that today. It's fucked up.
That is bullshit. That should not be allowed.
It's like, I don't know how all these motherfuckers are making ad money because, like, I don't watch a single fucking ad.
We should get paid. We should get paid for ads. I feel.
It's
We
like,
have- we
I
have to
use
sit
what I
there
use, and ads
endure
not
it.
going to change
Yeah,
that.
dude, when I used to do YouTube for gaming, bro, the way you had to make money through ads was fucking ridiculous, right? So, like, say I make the footage, right, and I'm playing Call of Duty, right? Use that as an example. Even though it's me doing the commentary, me playing the game, me recording the footage on my fucking console or PC or whatever the fuck you're using, you don't own the rights to that. The game company itself owns the right to that. So then you have to go through another company, which then pays the game companies for rights to use their fucking video, which is their game. And then they, in turn, allow you to monetize your video, which then, in turn, they take a percentage of your fucking ad revenue. And then you get
It's an absurd
kickback,
amount,
whatever.
too.
Oh, some of them. I had a pretty good one towards the end
Wait,
when I was
are you
doing
talking
YouTube.
about, what are they called? Not channels? Like,
I forget what they're called, man. It's been a long time.
you know what I'm talking about, though, right? You sign to them, kind of? Like a contract?
Yeah. Some of them require contracts, some of them not so much. But
They take a ridiculous amount.
yeah, like the first one I ever had
That's
was
what happened to
they.
Steve.
I think they took 60 and I took 40, or I might have taken 60 and they took 40. But even then, that's still fucking ridiculous. And the thing about that too is like, you'll still get copyright strikes too, because they're paying for access to the footage of the game. But say you're playing this game, right, and you're in the middle of like the campaign or some shit, and like a song from the Rolling Stones comes on or some shit, right? Even though you have access to the game, you don't have access to that song. So then that video will get fucking copyrighted, and you can't fucking monetize that. So it's just a lot of bullshit.
If you're talking over the song, right, would that count as fair use?
It's on a kind of a case by case basis.
It's a really like gray area. Like H3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Have you guys seen the case they filed for fair use?
Mm-mm.
So basically, they did a their style. It's like kind of commentary on videos. They did a commentary on this one guy, Matt Hawes. He tried to sue them for everything, right? And like it's the first case of its kind, like for fair use.
That's the thing too. If you're like a YouTuber, you don't, unless you're uploading under the premise of a limited liability corporation. Theoretically, they can come after you for everything.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, dude, they won it, right? They spent close to $1 million in like lawyer fees and shit.
God
They
damn.
won it. It's the first case of its kind. Like it was like a huge win for YouTube, honestly. And that's why I have a lot of respect for H3.
Fuck yeah.
Because they endured it. Like they didn't give up. Like they could have settled, and you know what I mean. Like
Right.
they stood up for YouTube.
I think the idea of a settlement is kind of fucking ridiculous.
It's honestly kind of greasy. Like,
Well,
unethical.
think about all the people who settled out of court.
yeah. Like,
All the evidence against them that wasn't presented, and they settled out of court for it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck did they do that caused this?
Yeah, and like you can get like sealed settlements and shit too, or like off the book settlements and shit too.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
you have, say you sue Facebook for whatever reason. If you settle out of court, they can say, hey, I'm going to give you this amount of money, but you can't say anything about it.
yeah.
Then, they can go on and say they did nothing wrong and they settled out of court just to avoid the bad press or whatever. But still, it's like, what did they do that caused you to sue them?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
and then it never gets eyed by the public at all.
Not just that, but like the thing with Facebook and these billion-dollar corporations, man, like you can't sue them because they can afford lawyer fees time and time again.
Yeah, and then
You'll never win.
even say you do fucking win, they're just gonna fucking bring it to an appellate court.
Yeah.
And then bring you through the whole fucking process again.
Yeah, like.
And like the average person
money.
can't fucking afford that.
Yeah, they have unlimited money.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad. Like it was a huge win for the American people when they declared Facebook a monopoly. I feel like they should go
Out of
after
all the
Amazon
fucking companies though, it's like Facebook is kind of the least of our worries, man.
well,
I think Google
They
and
did.
also fucking Charter Spectrum, dude. They have a monopoly on internet in this whole fucking North Country region, dude. All New York State.
The
All New York
companies,
State.
the companies that do artificial intelligence (AI) should be the most scrutinized because that shit could get out of hand real quick. If it's artificially learning what to do,
can
if you
develop feelings.
think about what Microsoft did a couple years ago, I forgot the name of it, but they went on Twitter with their artificial AI bot, their AI bot on Twitter, and it started talking about how the Nazis were right.
What?
Because it was learning from people that were retweeting it.
Oh.
Think about that way.
That's dangerous.
That
It's
is
fucking dangerous. And there needs to, AI is an important advancement for the future, but there needs to be some, like, you can't fucking say, you can't have your artificial learning bot saying shit like that. Alright?
Yeah, like it could definitely like help the future, but it could also destroy it at the
Yeah,
same time.
because, like, the Nazis obviously were not fucking right.
Well, yeah,
You gotta be pretty fucking dense to think the Nazis were right.
yeah.
They were not.
Have you ever heard the shit about how, like, and this is, I'm not just saying the Nazis were right or anything of that nature. I'm just, no. But just, in the, what the fuck were they called? The trials afterwards?
Nuremberg trials.
Yeah.
Trials, yeah.
So one of the guys was literally asked, like, one of Hitler's. First of all, Hitler was known to have like all of his cabinet members. It was not really cabinet members like the U.S. cabinet members, but it was essentially like his cabinet, close circle people
The SS.
guiding him and shit, right? All of his top advisors. he was known to specifically pick people that believed in extraterrestrials and all that type of stuff. He was known to do that, and he was like a big thing in all that. And they were also the most advanced at translating old texts and shit like that.
They also...
But listen, real quick.
No. Also, the Nazis launched I think it was the highest power or something. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this.
Mind control, right?
They launched the highest power or whatever rocket, the V2 or V1 on England in 1944, I believe. And it's like, how did they come up with that just out of nowhere?
Well, literally during the trials afterwards, one of the guys, the really high up Nazis, was like somebody literally like a court person asked this guy, "You guys came very close to taking over the world. Like, how did you do it?" And this guy literally outright said, like, "We had help from other worlds."
Think about it this way: the United States, in a very controversial program, they took Werner von Braun, a top SS scientist of the Nazis, over to the West.
They took many Nazis over to America to fucking work with them.
Wasn't that the guy that worked on mind control?
Werner von Braun, it was the guy.
Or time travel?
He was the guy. He worked on the Nazi Bell device, which was a supposed time travel.
Yeah, because they were
device.
working on time travel.
He was also the chief architect of the Saturn V5 rocket that took people to the moon.
No shit.
Think about it. In 10 years, we developed power. We developed the rocket power to go to the moon. Now, I am not sure if he was the chief architect, but he was involved. He was definitely involved. And John F. Kennedy said by the end of the decade, Americans were going to go to the moon.
Right.
And we went to the moon in July. No, he got shot because he said
he was going to unveil all the truths.
All the truths.
Yeah, I think the Men in Black had him killed.
They did, bro. There was proof that there was a second shooter at the JFK assassination. They framed it on, who was the killer?
Jack Ruby Oswald or something.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah.
Jack Ruby's the guy that fucking shot Harvey.
Yeah, Jack Ruby's the guy that shot him.
There's a theory that Oswald was just a scapegoat for the whole situation.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jack Ruby worked for the CIA.
There's a lot of fucked up assassinations.
There's a lot of proof to it, too.
MLK and shit.
Like, the way that the bullet entered his head, it doesn't make sense from the window that Oswald was caught at.
Yeah.
Like, the trajectory just doesn't line up. Like, there's no explaining that. And then also, at the assassination, there's these men with umbrellas. They're considered to be the Men in Black because you can't see their face. You see them in one photo, they're fucking gone in the next, bro.
No shit.
It just lines up, honestly. There's a lot of shit in that shit like that in history that lines up like that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of our history is staged.
Think about it.
I wrote a report about that.
Think about how they made the pyramids in Egypt in, thousands of years ago, and then they made pyramids in South America.
Very similar. Very
similar to the pyramids in Egypt.
And the pyramids aligned to Orion's belt.
Yeah. And think about how there's a theory going around that the pyramids in Egypt were actually power devices.
Yeah, I think that they're like a magnetic type of power source or some shit, yeah.
They harnessed the Earth's power, apparently.
Yep.
And they were able to broadcast that throughout the globe. And funny enough, Nikola Tesla in the, 1900s or whatever, or 1800s, whenever he died.
I think it was like early 1900s.
Yeah. He had a tower. I forgot the name of it, but it's a tower that could broadcast power wirelessly.
Yeah, he was trying to harvest energy out of the air.
With the Tesla coil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And think about how Elon Musk named his car company Tesla.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like he's trying to live on Tesla's dream.
Well, think about how in the world history you had geniuses of your time come about in very specific ages.
Yeah.
Like you have Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Copernicus, all around the same time. And Da Vinci specifically, he was absent from history for a number of years. What did he do? Where did he go?
He was ahead of his time, dude. I did a report on him, I think in high school or maybe college. And this man, in his time, he literally drew up drafts of helicopters. Like helicopter, like the same, essentially, like it wasn't exactly like a helicopter works today, but it was like the bare bones basic draft of like what a fucking helicopter today does.
Think about it though. For 4 or 5 years, history does not know where Leonardo da Vinci was. Do you think he could have possibly been abducted by aliens who time traveled into the future and he saw all of these things that are happening concurrently now?
Because he also did predict the equation for a lot of things. I forget what it's called. It's like kind of looks like a shell. What the fuck's it called?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called though.
Yeah, he invented that, which basically like
He also had
explains the alignment of the solar system.
Yeah, he also had like the shit with like the fucking man with like the triangle and like figured out the symmetrical of like faces and all that type of shit.
Yeah, didn't he also figure out the way that the sun like rotates around the Earth? Who was that?
But the Earth rotates around the sun.
Well, yeah, like he figured out like the moon and sun cycles. Who was that?
It might have been Copernicus.
Copernicus did a lot for the solar
Copernicus,
system.
Yeah.
But think about it. This guy, Da Vinci, in the 1500s, what was the science like at that time? He comes out after his 4-year absence with all these ideas. Where did he go those 4 years? What happened to him those 4 years? And when he's lost to history?
Nobody fucking knows.
It is
man.
definitely weird that there's no accountability for the 4 years.
Yeah.
There's no explanation for it.
A guy like Da Vinci, and he spent the last 16 or 17 years of his life focusing on the Mona Lisa. Every detail. Every little detail of the Mona Lisa. He focused his entire
some
last...
hidden fucking messages.
There is.
Probably is, yeah.
If you put it together, it looks like... If you take the right hand and cut it off there and you put them together, it looks like a modern day gray alien.
Whoa.
Which, if you think about, the gray aliens could possibly be humans from the future.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if the way I think about it is, the future is happening concurrently to the present.
Right. I mean, also too, we don't look anything like chimps.
No, we don't. And that was only 200,000 years of evolution, according to scientists.
Another thing too, we were talking about chimps and shit earlier that I didn't mention, right? So like you were talking about how we were potentially like bred with by aliens and shit like that, and that theory makes sense to me because chimps nowadays, today in our present age, chimps are entering the Stone Age. So I think naturally we would have progressed like we have, but I think it would have taken a long fucking time. I think that they did somebody somewhere did something to rapidly enhance that process.
Think about it. Yeah. Dinosaurs were the dominant species on Earth for millions of years. Modern humans have only been around for about 150 to 200,000 years. What happened that caused us to evolve so much in the last 150,000 years? And on a cosmic time scale,
it's nothing.
Yeah,
that's like a minute.
Very tiny fraction of the time.
That's a very, very tiny fraction. Think about it. The Earth, the solar system has been around for 4 billion years. And billion is a big fucking number.
And how do we even fucking know that, too? That's the thing.
Yeah, we don't know that. That's just what we've been told.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the scientists are wrong.
Yeah.
I'm saying, off of the information that we have, we can, concur that our solar system has been around for about 8 billion years, but the universe has been around for about 13 point whatever billion years. I think it's 13.8 billion years. If you think about it, how did we evolve so much in so little time compared to the dinosaurs, who were the dominant species on Earth for millions of years? Modern humans haven't even been around for 1 million years yet. There's so many missing links in our past that it's almost unbelievable to think about.
It kind of doesn't connect.
It's like we want it to connect so badly, but you think about it and it's like, how? How come the dinosaurs didn't evolve into an intelligence over the last the millions of years that they were around?
Yeah,
they evolved.
Why are we the only species on Earth to actually be semi-intelligent?
There's a few.
There's others that are smart,
and then there's
they're
dolphins.
They don't have phones. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're
the only species on this planet that manipulates the environment.
We're the only
crazy
new age intelligent, I would say.
And we have coherent thoughts, and we can think of other people and show empathy and stuff. Why are we doing that?
Yeah, there's no scientific explanation as to why we're the chosen species.
Yeah, because for all we know, we could have been bred into by aliens to make us like a slave race.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well,
because if you look back into the history books, the first civilization in Sumeria of ancient Iraq, thousands of years ago, they had stories of the Anunnaki.
Right. They were also really, really detailed in astronomy and shit like that without the use of telescopes or anything like that, which I find pretty crazy.
And they built, the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids.
We were talking about how those line up to Orion's belt. You know what else lines up to Orion's belt? The Twin Towers.
Yeah, think about it for more than, 5 seconds. It's like, what happened that made us... Because if you look at Stone Age technology that we had as people, the ancient Egyptians were building pyramids. The ancient Romans had cities and stuff. But what happened that made us go from feudal civilizations in the 1600s to 1800s, and then all of a sudden we're here?
This is kind of what makes me think of the simulation theory, where maybe we evolved because there was some kind of patch in the update. You know what I mean? Because it did come out of nowhere. Who's to say somebody else isn't controlling all of us?
It doesn't make it. It's hard to understand that the universe, as big as it is, we are just a dot.
Yeah.
We're just a small little speck.
Almost 8 billion of us.
It's also, too, what I think about in terms of consciousness that I find pretty crazy is, when you create something. How do the ideas, for me, when I'm writing a book and shit, how does that just, pop into my mind? Or anybody that creates anything. And also, too, when you're, balls deep in, a project or creating something or, an art piece or, music, whatever it is, you almost, lose yourself in that. And then you, come out of that, you get in the zone, so to speak, is, kind of what people call it. And you come out of that, and it's just, that switch flips. And you step back and you look at that, and you're like, holy shit.
Just look at what you made.
Yeah, but it's how does that happen?
Yeah.
A creative kind of insane process.
Kind of creative free will. Almost.
Yeah. How does that just come about?
Yeah. We kind of just get random thoughts and we go with it. And what explains that? Nothing really.
Yeah.
I think that we as a human race need to be more understanding and compassionate with other people in our race. Because at the end of the day,
We're all just one big floating rock.
yeah, we're one big floating rock. In 100,000 years from now, say we go extinct,
Who's gonna remember this?
and aliens or extraterrestrials come to our planet, they're going to see, oh, humans were the dominant species. But what makes us different to the great apes that we have now to the aliens that come in 100,000 years if we go extinct? Because all we are is just more intelligent than the great apes. 100,000 years from now, if an extraterrestrial civilization comes through and says, hey, who are these people? They would consider gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, whatever, however you say it, but all the great apes, they would consider us one of them. Because, think about it. Are we not just apes?
Pretty much. I mean, compared to them, we aren't as nearly as technologically advanced.
We're just primates that developed some kind of intelligence.
The basics.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Say the human race, stands for another million years. If what we did in the past 100 years is indicative of the future, in 100 years from now...
In 100 years from now, life as we know it today would be unrecognizable.
Yeah.
It really is going to change so much.
It's already changing so much, and we just choose to not recognize it.
Look at virtual reality.
Neuralink?
Well, Neuralink, yeah, that's a whole other beast. There's definitely going to be some trial and error with that, but I feel like once we fully develop it, we'll be better off as a species. You know
I
what
think
mean?
yes and no. It's the same argument to be made with like a cell phone, right? With a cell phone you're better off, so to speak, because you I got an Amazon Echo today, right? I was like, without even have to go on my phone or internet or anything, I can just ask it stock prices and shit. I'm like, oh, what is the price of fucking Bitcoin right now? It tells me. Shit like that is useful and helpful, yada yada yada. But at the same point in time, if you get so used to that, and then you don't have that cell phone, if you leave the house without your cell phone and you gotta go somewhere, and you don't know how to get there. Do people know how to read maps nowadays? Do people know how to read a fucking compass? No. So you are better off, but at the same point in time, it's that double-edged sword.
We become reliant on it.
Yeah, if you become too reliant on it, then are you really better off with that cell phone?
Yeah. We really have become so reliant on it. We kind of rely on it for literally everything.
We are a species of beings that came from early hunter-gatherers to now being overfed, overstimulated.
Yeah, I don't think it's unnatural the way we live nowadays, because I don't think we're built to be able to process the amount of information and sensory data coming at us at one time.
Have everything at the tip of our fingertips.
100 years from now, what are people going to look like?
I imagine in the next 100 years there'll definitely be like cyborgs.
Yeah. In 100 years from now, do you think that we're going to have to do any manual labor?
Yes and no. I feel like the job market itself will be a lot more competitive. Because
I think a lot more shit's going to be automated.
They already have robots to do, basic jobs. The Roomba. They have, robots for making fast food.
Oh yeah, the shit that flips
places.
burgers and whatnot. Yeah.
Think of not even 100. Think about 10 years in the future.
Dude, I saw a list of companies that weren't around before the year 2007 the other day, and it was fucking crazy.
Most of them
because one of them was Spotify, right? Spotify wasn't a company before 2007, but I'm getting literally a notification from Spotify, your year in review, and I think I did the math. It was some 10% of my fucking year was spent listening to Spotify.
Yeah.
And that wasn't around. 15 years ago. Like, that's fucking absurd.
Well, it's not just Spotify, dude. It's Spotify, Facebook, Uber, like
Uber,
most of the
DoorDash,
things we rely on today.
Airbnb, all that shit.
Yeah.
A lot of that wasn't around.
Think about it. 10 years from now, Elon Musk says we're going to have people on Mars.
I believe it, man. Some people are skeptical. I fucking believe it.
I believe it too, because like I've been a super like SpaceX fanboy for the longest time. And honestly, I can see the timeline coming together.
I think if anybody's gonna do it, it's gonna be Elon. I feel like he's the only billionaire nowadays that has the public interest in mind. Like, don't get me wrong, he definitely profits off it, but he's looking at better advancing society. Like, look what he's trying to do in LA, with the underground tunnels.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
Because he's gonna make the bricks for it 10 cents each, or less than 10 cents each.
No shit.
And they're all made from the mud that he drills up for the tunnels. So it's self-sustainable,
okay.
dude. Like,
Oh shit.
he's trying to make life better. And I don't see any other billionaires trying to do
He's
that.
definitely like represents the human peak of like ingenuity, in my opinion.
I think he's doing the most for society right now.
Like
Trying to get some space travel. I mean, trying to have better
Electric vehicles.
travel systems, especially in LA. Because LA, I've never been there, but
Well, I've heard
it
it's
takes
like
4 hours to
terrible
get somewhere.
layout compared to like New York City and shit like that. And there's also not like public transportation just doesn't make the most sense out
It's
of
just
LA.
traffic is just horribly
Yeah.
bad there. So it takes like 4 hours to get from point A to point B, no matter where you are in the city. So like the fact that he's trying to make it so like there's still above ground travel, but there's also underground tunnels that take you almost instantly to where you want to go. Like,
It's fucking smart, dude.
yeah, man. Like it's gonna make life so much better for the big cities especially.
Like, I think that everybody in the next 100 years will end up living in a city. Because
Yeah,
you think about it,
it's a shame, but yeah.
how much land on Earth do we use for farming, just having, for whatever reason, that could be better off for the environment. And I hope that there's advances in vertical farming. We could just build higher. We don't necessarily have to go outwards. We can go higher. And if we can perfect vertical farming, I think
use up a lot less land.
And I think that land that we no longer using should be best left to the environment to do its thing.
Yeah, and there's also like certain spots that are much better for growing shit than other spots. So if you can like build vertically in that one spot that's like got a lot of sunlight, the best soil, all that shit, like proper water and all that shit, you'd be a lot better to just build that up vertically and use that one spot as opposed to like growing shit in places where like you have to grow shit there because you can't import or whatever the fuck. But it's not like a great spot to grow things,
Like, think about it. There's 18 or so million people that live in the New York City metropolitan area. The majority of the country lives in cities already. And, if we perfect vertical farming, I'm not saying it's going to be the cure-all for the environment, but we are doing terrible things to the environment every single fucking day.
Oh yeah.
If we could just, but like that's not going to be a problem for like liberals or conservatives. That's going to be a problem for fucking everybody sooner than we think about it.
Yeah, we seem to like be pushing all these like, oh, it's not our problem, that's a problem of our kids and shit. But like, I don't know, we gotta come to terms with some of this shit,
Well, it's not really a problem for our kids because, like, I mean, how many of us are going to have kids in the next 10 years?
I'd like to.
Think about it. When your kids are 18, what year will it be?
Say I have kids in 5 years, right? So you figure 2025 I have kids. And they'll be 20 in 2045.
That's going to be too late.
Yeah.
We are the generation, people alive now have to do something about the environment.
Like, we may not witness the final decimation of everything in our generation, but if we don't change,
We'll see the downfall.
it's unchangeable. Like, if we don't make the change, it's the point where, like, even if our kids want to fix it, they're not gonna fucking be able to.
Yeah, the key word is might. We might not be able to see the downfall, but there's a lot of us that will see it all. Because, think about it. By the time that, the people who were born in the early 90s, or the late 90s,
Yeah.
98, 99, 2000.
Yeah, I was born in 99.
I was born in 98. Think about it. When we're 50, it'll be 2050, 2048. And it's like, and how much damage have we done in the last 20 years?
Well, fucking insane amount, man.
More than they've done in the past 100.
Yeah. We've done more damage in the last 20 years than they've done for the entirety of the human race.
Oh yeah.
If we don't decide to do something about it as a group collectively, we're gonna get hit with the fucking shit on the fan in 2040.
And the thing that you were talking about unity and everything, and that's why unity is crazy important, because say even the U.S. say the U.S. was like, yeah, we're gonna go fully green, yada yada yada, and the U.S. did everything in their power. Well, you still got other places like China, and unless everybody's on board, it's not going to make that much of a difference. And the thing about that is, like, even if the U.S. wanted to go green or everything, if the U.S. decided to make all these crazy changes and do what's best for the planet and the environment, they could do that, but then that's going to weaken their global power compared to other places that aren't doing the most ethical thing. So then the U.S. isn't going to do that because of the premise, like, oh, that's going to cost us a lot of money and make us weaker than, say, China, and then China can just be like, fuck you and take us over. So you gotta have like a united front in this type of issue, and I think that's our biggest problem as a human race.
Climate change is the biggest issue facing every single nation of the world. It's not a problem for China, the United States alone, Russia, the European Union. It's a problem for the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
And there's no getting around it because it's inevitable. It's going to happen whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And
even if we were to do something now, like, we're never gonna get it back to that baseline like it should be or like it was, but we can do enough where it's not gonna fucking destroy the planet. But we've already done so much damage that, like, we're not ever gonna get it back to where it should be or where it was. But if we make the changes, we can, either delay or prevent the destruction of everything.
It takes a day to ruin everything. But it can take years, hundreds of years to fix things. Say tomorrow we all wake up and there's a nuclear war.
Oof.
It's game over.
Oh yeah, no one wins a nuclear war, man.
No, it's hundreds of years until the atmosphere is back to the way it was today.
Plus, not only that, dude, the prospect of nuclear war, if you start dropping nukes, who's to say that doesn't set off the fucking super volcanoes?
You definitely would.
It could.
Well, the thing is, where they would be aiming would be towards cities. I mean, that's not towards a huge city, but it's close enough. That's the super volcano we're talking about. That spreads miles and miles.
If the Yellowstone volcano would go off, it would blanket more than 3/4 of the
We go into
United
another
States.
ice age.
It's also like, what is it? 200 years like past due for an explosion too.
Yeah.
It could take the littlest shit to set it off.
I think that we all just need to get along. There's no difference between me and some dude in Africa or some girl in Africa. We're no different.
Right.
We're the same species. Just because, they may be black, brown, whatever color they are, it doesn't matter. We're all the same. Think about it. We're three white guys. Why are we three white guys? Because we live in a different climate than the people in Africa, or the people in, the Middle East. We all started in Africa, the Middle East. Well, the Middle East, actually. We all started as the same people. And we remain today the same people.
Right.
There's no difference. The only difference is the color of our skin. Okay? We're all human beings, one way or another, whether you like it or not. It doesn't change the fact that we're the same fucking people. And if we don't get our fucking shit together, we're gonna ruin this planet for our kids. We're gonna ruin life for our kids, and, you know, God forbid their fucking kids, if they even are able to have kids. Because we keep doing shit because, oh, you're different than me, so I don't like you. That's fucked up.
It's part of my dilemma, man. Like, I want to have kids, but at the same point in time, like, I can't justify having a kid in the current state of things the way they are. Like, I feel like I would just be setting this kid up for failure. You know, no matter how good of a parent I might be, like, this kid would just experience fucking hell with all the shit that's coming up.
There's 7 billion
hard,
people
man.
in the fucking world.
Yeah.
And we can't say, hey, we're all the same fucking species. We need to get our fucking shit together and fix things. Alright?
Instead, we're all in competition.
But there's no point to being in competition.
Yeah.
Right.
We're all the fucking same. No matter if you're Chinese, Russian, fucking African, fucking Middle Eastern, it doesn't fucking matter.
Dude, I talked about it on my last podcast with DJ and Franz. I don't know if you know DJ, but he knows DJ. Fucking... Dude, when I was living at the Renaissance, that's part of what made it so great, man. Like, I met so many different people from all over the world, like from Russia, from fucking China, all over the place, dude. And it was so cool to just meet all these different people from different walks of life and shit. And it's definitely, like, we were all chilling, playing chess, smoking weed, fucking drinking, grilling, whatever, man. It was mad fucking cool.
We all came from the same place. It was, you know, Middle East or Africa. We all evolved from the same species. And we continue today to be the same species. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? It doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, who you want to be. It doesn't fucking matter. The only thing matters are that we are human beings and we're consistently fucking everything up.
Yeah, man, like, people take shit for granted. Like, living on this, like, beautiful fucking planet is a gift, man. And, like, we're wasting it.
Like, whatever your religion is, it doesn't fucking matter. We all come from the same place. You just think differently than... A Muslim person thinks differently than a fucking Catholic from the States.
Right.
But at the end of the fucking day, you two idiots have the same fucking God. It's just 3 different fucking versions of it spread out, and it doesn't fucking matter. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, we're all fucking human beings. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't fucking matter. We have issues that we need to fucking deal with right now.
Absolutely.
Think about it. I'm a human. I'm a Homo sapien sapien. You're a Homo sapien sapien. You're a Homo sapien sapien. Those starving kids in Africa and China and wherever the fuck, in America, there's a lot of starving fucking people in America.
Oh, yeah.
They're all Homo sapien sapiens. The same fucking thing as us. It doesn't matter what the color of their skin, their religion, their race. It doesn't fucking matter. We're all the same group of people, and it's like, why don't we just fucking worry about helping each other instead of just going out and fucking saying, oh, we need oil. We don't fucking need oil. We lived for 200,000 years without fucking oil. And in the last 100 years, oil is the make or break for... Fuck that. We don't need oil. We don't need fucking coal. We have a fucking huge-ass energy source in the fucking sky every day.
Wind power.
Wind power,
And
solar electricity, it doesn't fucking matter what it is. Wind power, solar, it all comes from the same
hydropower,
fucking place.
too.
Yeah.
Hydropower, I feel like, is the most reliable. Or solar power, honestly, but yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? Why are we doing these things to each other? Why can't we just fucking get along?
Yeah, there's no explanation for it.
And say, hey, you're a Muslim, I'm a Christian. I'm not, by the way. I'm an atheist. But it's like, why don't you say, hey, you believe in this, I believe in this, but we're the same people, it doesn't matter. Why don't we just say, hey, we need to do whatever we need to do to save the planet and make sure that nobody's hungry.
Yeah.
Because we waste so much fucking
A lot of
food.
food.
Oh, yeah.
We
Okay?
have enough food to feed the population.
Money doesn't matter. What is money other than a social construct by people?
Corporations, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, it
corporations
doesn't
just
fucking matter.
Corporations
Especially when the government
implanted-
can supposedly just print fucking money to pay people on
They can
unemployment
print
and
money,
stimulus
but,
checks
like,
and all
I
this
feel like
shit.
corporations-
Like, why the fuck couldn't they do that before?
I feel like corporations kind of push that idea in our heads, like you need this, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you see something, you want it.
And it's hard because if you don't play by the rules, then you're gonna be starving, or you're gonna
Yeah.
fucking not, be able to do shit and support people and this and that. But like somewhere along the lines, we gotta break that chain, break that system.
Yeah,
We're running out of time to break that system.
Oh yeah.
Because after this pandemic that we're currently going through, because nobody wears a fucking mask. You should wear a mask if you're listening to this. Anyway, there's many, 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 many more millions of people who don't have enough food to eat. It may not affect you, but think about it if your
the
sister,
one. You were
your
the one.
brother didn't have enough food to fucking eat. Are you going to help them? If it's your immediate family, you would. But if you think about it on a global scale, everybody is your immediate family. We all come from the same fucking one ancestor that said, hey, I'm going to be a human today. It's like, what the fuck? I don't give a fuck if you're fucking black, fucking white, African. It doesn't fucking matter. If you need help, I want to help you because we're the same fucking people. Now, whatever we have to do to figure it out, yeah, maybe we should leave that up to the smartest people in the world. They can figure it out. Because I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just a regular fucking guy.
Right.
But we have very smart people who may or may not want to help.
that's the thing. Nowadays, we never know who wants
Yeah.
to help. Like,
Yeah, and like people also disguise helping too. Like
politicians,
like you'll have like
especially.
corporations that are like, oh, I'm gonna donate X amount of money to this charity. They're like, people are like, oh yes, they're helping. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Fucking this company did that for this
little
fucking
do we know,
organization.
It took them 2
But
seconds
really-
to make that money.
Yeah, literally, it took them 2 seconds to make that money. It doesn't account for all the bad shit that they're doing, and
All the tax
a lot
breaks
of
they
a lot of it is just specifically for tax breaks. Like if a company makes, say, fucking $1 million, if the taxes, say you make more than $1 million, the taxes go up exponentially from there, right? Well, if a company makes $1 million and fucking $200,000, they can just donate $200,000 to charity, and everybody's like, oh wow, they donated $200,000 to charity. These guys are so fucking great. But then in reality, they saved hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars by donating that small amount of money.
Yeah.
I mean, $200,000 is not a small amount of money, but
To
by
them
donating,
it is.
yeah, to them it is. And like that's also not really gonna make that much of a difference.
It's too much of income to them, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's like, a lot of it, you don't truly know who's trying to help or who's doing it
You
for
also
fucking
have to think
self-interest.
about it. There's some charities out there that'll take 90% of the donations for overhead.
Yeah.
And they'll only give 10%.
Yeah, like what is it? There's a famous I can't think of what the fuck it is. There's one charity that just got caught recently taking most of the funds. I think it was actually the breast cancer awareness one.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck are you doing with my money?
You shouldn't be pocketing that shit. There's no reason only 10% of the proceeds should go to cancer research.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What the fuck are you spending 90% on?
100% should go to it.
Right.
I mean, I don't.
if you're a corporation-
honestly, if I ran a charity, you have to think about it logically. 10%, I feel like 10% of donations should go to actually running the charity because you have to pay people to do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
You
There's
have
not
like
enough-
electric bills, shit like that.
Yeah.
If you have like a fucking, overhead actual building and shit.
But it shouldn't be more than 10%. If it's more
Right.
than 10%, you're doing something fucking
Yeah, you're not a
wrong
fucking charity.
as a charity.
You're a company at that point.
Yeah. Like, we could feed the entire world, but it's a distribution problem.
No country wants to give it up. That's the thing.
We waste so much fucking food in America alone.
Just from corporations too.
We waste so much shit. We could feed the fucking world easily,
Several times over.
several times over. But we don't want to spend the extra $100 billion. What the fuck's $100 billion when you
To the
just gave
world.
people like fucking Walmart, Amazon, etc. $1 trillion tax breaks?
And also, especially to the world, though, 100 billion, that's not much. You know what I mean? Like, if it's everybody pitching in, that's...
That's like fucking $10 a person almost.
Yeah.
A little bit more than that, and we feed the entire world.
We'd all be eating, we'd all be...
Yeah, and then it's like also too, everybody's taking care of their basic needs. You know how much less crime and fucking bullshit there would be?
Yeah.
Because a lot of crime is inspired by,
I don't
I have a
money
family
for
to
this.
feed. I can't take care of my family, so I'm gonna go sell cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody.
Or-
There's some people that are like, I'm just gonna fucking sell cocaine to fucking make a
Or
bunch of
even-
money and buy a bunch of fucking shit I don't need. But
Or
there is some people that do it for
Even
that
people who
altruistic
shoplift.
reason.
People who shoplift from, like, grocery stores and shit, dude. And people get busted for that all the time, but they're just trying to fucking feed their family.
Yeah.
And it literally costs the fucking corporation nothing. But to that person, they're going to jail. Their whole life is fucked, dude. It's so messed up. Like, a corporation can just fucking everyday person up any day. You know, like, oh, you don't have a life now. You know, like, it doesn't cost them anything, though. I mean, because they can just go to court countless times.
Right.
You know, like, it's so messed up.
I think it's all fucked up. Because we have single mothers, single fathers going to jail for stealing food for their kids. They want their kids to eat.
Yeah, like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
is that wrong? To want your family to eat? Like, no.
Right.
You know,
And then that fucks the kids even more because now they have no
They don't have-
parents.
yeah, they don't have a parent. And, like,
some people steal just to steal,
Yeah.
but the numbers are so fucking low. It doesn't matter. You know, say 100,000 people steal just because they want to steal. Yeah, they should go to jail. They should be punished for their crimes. But say there's 2 million people that are stealing food because they need it. They need their kids to eat. That's what's fucked up about the criminal justice system. And I think that there needs to be community policing in every city, in every town, in every village in the entire world. Because honestly, if I had kids to feed and they needed food, I would do whatever it took to get them food. Okay? It doesn't matter what it is. But then I'll go to jail. And then what happens to my kids? They go to a foster care system that is inadequate at best.
yeah,
And then they grow up to become fucking criminals and
Yeah.
the system has been proven to, like, not work.
shit. Yeah.
The foster care system. Which that alone is fucked up. Like, sometimes...
In the States, we have prisons for rehabilitation. But in reality, most prisons are privately run.
Yeah.
If you look at, what is it, Sweden, that's actually focused at rehabilitation. It's actually treated like kind of like a dorm almost.
Yeah, like, dude, I know people that have been to prison and shit, and like they have straight PTSD from being in
Yeah.
fucking prison. Like, it's
Like
just not a
solitary
good fucking
confinement
place.
and shit,
I know someone who's been in solitary
Yeah,
confinement
same.
for a long time, and like he's fucked up from it, dude. Like,
It's fucked up. You think about it, it's like, say you went to prison because you had kids that you had to feed.
mhm.
What's going to happen to you in prison? They don't fucking rehabilitate.
No.
They only care about how much money they make if it's a private prison.
And then the other thing with that, too, is, like, you do the crime, you pay the time, but you don't just do the time. You literally, the rest of your life, you're fucked. You can't get a job. You're not going to be able to rent a place.
You can't vote.
You can't fucking vote. Like, if you're going to prison and you have a 20-year sentence, you do that 20 years, you should be able to get out and go vote the next fucking day.
Yeah.
You should be able to get an apartment. You should be able to get a job and shit.
And also, what the fuck are these sentences that are like, oh, you have 60 years and then another 25?
Or double
Just
life
say-
sentence.
just say,
Like,
oh,
what the fuck? Like, that's
you
another
have a
thing.
life in prison.
Like, if you do something so fucking heinous that you have life in prison,
It's just life in prison. You have
why,
life in
why the
prison.
fuck are we wasting taxpayer
Yeah,
dollars on
electric
these
chair.
people?
Fuck
Yeah, we
that.
should, like if you do, say you rape a bunch of fucking 10-year-old girls and you have a double, triple fucking life sentence in prison. Like, what the fuck is that? You should put a fucking bullet to their head. Like,
Yeah.
See, that, it makes sense on paper, but you have to think about how many people are wrongfully convicted.
that is true. That is very
Because
true.
Yeah.
you could rape...
Especially death row.
You could rape 30 fucking kids, but you could tell the cops
damn.
it was me.
Right.
And then... But I did some sketchy shit in the past, they're gonna believe you over me.
Right.
I didn't rape anybody. I'm in prison for the rest of my life, and they're gonna kill me in 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're all free.
That's true.
That's why I don't
that's
agree
true
with
shit.
the death penalty.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Because you don't know who's innocent or not.
I feel like
Right.
And if you can have a jury by peers, but if you rape kids, it doesn't matter what your peers think. If the judge says or the prosecution says you raped kids, that's an instant sentence.
Yeah.
No matter how much evidence is presented, if somebody, I don't want to speak for everybody in the world, but me, if I hear somebody raped kids, I'm instantly gonna think, they raped those fucking kids, they should die.
Right, and that's the other thing too, is like the way accusations are brought about in like the papers and all this shit is pretty crazy too, because even say somehow somebody accuses you of like some heinous crime like that, right? You didn't do it. And then you go to court, the court proves, yep, this guy didn't do it, yada yada yada.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
People already
matter
have it in their
because
heads.
people have that in their fucking heads.
Look at Johnny Depp. Amber Heard said that he beat her.
Didn't she cut off his finger or some shit?
yeah.
She did some fucked up. I don't know if she cut off her
No, he
finger.
didn't. She did.
She didn't. But she did some fucked up shit to Johnny Depp. And he didn't do anything back to her. And he got fired from so many jobs because of
Oh,
the
yeah, he lost a lot of acting
accusation.
gigs, yeah.
And it just recently came out that she was lying.
Yeah, she still has major contracts.
Yeah.
Another thing that I find
Now,
crazy.
I don't care if, say, a guy says that so-and-so woman did something to him. If they come out as lying, they should get punished the same
Oh,
as
yeah.
whoever.
I was about to say
Yeah.
this. Because you were talking about like child rape, like that's a whole different aspect. But I'm saying like rape as a whole, bro. I feel like that specifically is innocent until proven guilty.
Every crime.
Everything should be, yeah.
Everything, yes, but like
Should be
rape,
innocent
rape
until proven
especially, there should be both sides to an argument. And like, don't get me wrong, when it's very evident, it's evident. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like especially with rape, like there's you can prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that don't come forward because they're scared of the repercussions, and like that you can understand. But like, there's just a lot that like you have to see both sides.
What do you guys think of the Edward Snowden ordeal?
I think he's an American hero.
I do too.
I don't know
think-
enough about it to make an
So,
opinion.
okay, so Edward Snowden basically was working for the NSA. He was getting paid a fuck ton of money, and he was essentially helping the NSA spy on people through their phone records and all this shit, post 9/11, all that shit, under Dick Cheney, right?
Patriot Act.
Yep, all that shit, right? So he smuggles out some data that proves and goes and brings it to a reporter, yada yada, that proves that the U.S. government is spying on people via phone records in mass numbers, not pertaining to terrorism, not pertaining to anything, just spying on everyday people. He exposes that, right? Now, this is under the Obama administration, right? So which the Obama administration promised they were going to be, lenient towards whistleblowers, which they were notoriously hard on whistleblowers, and he was wanted. And the type of court that he would go to is not a normal court. It's like a military type court. And he could face the death penalty for his crime. So he flees, he goes to Russia, and he's got a transit flight to another country, right? Well, his passport, all of his assets, everything gets frozen. So he's trapped in Russia. And then Sweden and other countries, I don't know if it was Sweden or Switzerland, but all these other countries notoriously harbor whistleblowers, right? And then Biden, under Obama, goes out and pretty much threatens to start trade wars with these countries if they harbor Snowden, right? So he's effectively trapped in fucking Russia. He's been trapped in Russia for years, yada, 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 right? The Supreme Court just this last year, in the past 6 months, comes out and literally says what Edward Snowden showed and proved that the U.S. government was doing was in fact true. It is what they were doing, and it is indeed unconstitutional. And he has not been pardoned. He has not been relieved of his sentence, of his crimes, none of that. He's still to this day trapped in Russia. Even though what he proved the U.S. government was doing was indeed happening and was declared by the Supreme Court unconstitutional. And they just don't give a fuck.
If what you were saying is true, and he did in fact blow the whistle on the U.S. government spying on people without their knowledge, then I think, yeah, he should not be tried for his crimes, because it was a net benefit to the American people. But I don't want to make an uninformed decision, because I'm only going off of what you said. I don't know enough about the situation, but if what you said is true and factual, then I think he should be released.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Everybody because Trump pardoned a bunch of people before he left office, and a lot of people were expecting a fucking pardon for Snowden, and it didn't happen. I think shit like that is fucking crazy.
Well, you have to think about it. Governments, just like religions, need to have control over their people.
Oh yeah.
If they don't have control,
They don't have anything.
They don't have anything.
Right, and I get it. If they go and pardon him, then they're essentially the next person that is, because his scenario deters other people from coming out and blowing the whistle on other shady shit the government's doing.
Now, I'm not saying that the government is right. I'm just saying there probably is certain things that the general public shouldn't know. Whatever it is. We don't need to know.
Yeah, there's definitely some shit that needs to be kept
at the end of the day, we're just regular people.
Right.
But if it's something that affects our day-to-day life, we should be allowed to know about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But some things I can go my whole life without knowing, and it wouldn't if it doesn't affect me. But if it affects me directly, and it doesn't matter which government does this, Americans, Russians, Canadians, Chinese, it doesn't matter. If it affects those people, they have a right to know about it, because the government does not work for anybody but the people.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'm not necessarily against, secrets, like you said. There's certain shit, I don't know, next-gen weaponry or some shit. The general public shouldn't necessarily know all the details on how to make, a fucking nuclear bomb or some shit.
We don't really have to.
We don't need to know shit like that. It'd probably be bad for everybody to know how to make a nuclear bomb. Because next thing you know, you're getting in a fight with your neighbor, you fucking nuke your neighbor.
Yeah.
But, certain shit like spying on people, shit like that should be made public.
Yeah, exactly. But, the nuclear bomb thing, I don't need to know how to make a nuclear bomb.
The thing with Snowden, though, didn't he also release Pizzagate to the public?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure if he did. It's possible.
You've heard about Pizzagate, though, right?
Yes, I've heard all about Pizzagate. That shit was pretty fucking crazy.
So fucking disturbing.
Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy, especially because that's like fake news summed up into one fucking story, really.
I mean, kind of, but the thing it was the Secret Service, you know what I mean? That's our highest level of security in this country. And they were fucking raping little boys and little girls,
Well, no, the whole thing was with Pizzagate was...
No, they would order pizza, pepperoni would be for the little boy, and cheese would be for girls.
Right, that was the story, and who knows whether or not it was actually true or not, but supposedly by the media, it's been, and the police and all that shit, it's been proven that Pizzagate was not a thing. But this one guy was like, oh, fuck, this is a thing? They're raping fucking kids in this pizza shop, yada yada yada. He goes there with like an assault rifle or some shit, and he went in and was basically like trying to liberate all these sex slaves, just being a noble fucking, honestly like heroic, except for the fact that like that thing wasn't actually happening, and he kind of just like walked into a pizza shop with an assault rifle for no fucking reason. That's supposedly what happened. Now, whether or not that was actually happening and they just, stopped it and hit it or fucking whatever, who knows?
At a pizza shop, though.
No?
No, it happened at a hotel.
Oh, okay.
They would order pizza to the hotel.
Okay.
And there was like proof that they covered it up.
There's a lot of cover-ups and shit.
There really is.
Just to want to make it clear, I missed the entire last part of that conversation because I was not in the room. I have no
We're just
opinion.
talking about Pizzagate.
I have no opinion because I don't know enough.
Child rapists.
Bad people.
Bad.
Anybody who rapes anybody, bad person.
This is true. So, one thing that I wanted to mention, I kind of saved this for last, is before we end the podcast, is our recent experience with a UFO. So, do you want to tell this story, Chase? Or do you want me to?
Let's go for it.
Alright. So, the other day, right? So, we're chilling with our buddy, a good friend of ours, who I'd like to have on the podcast at some point. And just a couple days after we moved into the new place, I'd say, right?
Oh, yeah, it was probably about 3 or 4 days in.
And we're just fucking drinking some liquor, chilling, and having a good time. You guys wanted to smoke a cigarette. I'm like, oh, we gotta go outside, yada yada yada. So we go out on the back porch, and I lived in a very small city. You could barely classify it as a city, but it is a city. I lived in the city of Plattsburgh prior to living where I'm living now. And we go outside, you guys are smoking cigarettes, and I look up and I'm like, holy shit, man, you can see the stars so much better out here than you could in Plattsburgh. And I was like, wow, look at that, it's Orion. The whole constellation of Orion, you can see it clear as day. It's crystal clear, no clouds in the sky, beautiful fucking night, right?
Yeah, we just saw this, I can only describe it, it looked like a saucer.
Yeah.
And it was flashing lights.
And once I have video, I'll show a lot of this shit on the podcast. So if you guys do hear this again, I apologize. But Chase, you had a pretty good picture. Isaiah had a really nice video, and I had some pictures as well.
What's interesting in the video...
well, hold on. We'll get to the video. Get to the video.
Okay.
So the lead up, right? So I'm looking and I'm like, oh, that's Orion, right? And then Isaiah is like, what the fuck is that? And then we see a really, really bright, what appeared to be a star at first. And I know astronomy pretty well. I know the constellations. Isaiah does too. We're like, wait a minute. That shouldn't be there. That's not part of the constellation of Orion. And Isaiah mentioned that is so fucking bright, dude. It's brighter than the North Star, which is the brightest star in the sky. And that's not the fucking North Star. And then we start looking at it, and you want to describe what we saw?
Honestly, I mean, because we got the video is what we saw first, I'd say. Like, the very solid proof that we got.
Right. Well, before that, we saw,
we saw
the flashing lights. This object, this light was really bright, and it was flashing every color of the rainbow.
Like, red, green, blue, yellow, green, like, it was every color you can imagine. And it was just rotating, it seemed.
Yeah.
And it was staying equidistant from this other star.
Right, one of the stars in the Orion constellation. Throughout the night, it moved with the star, but it always stayed equidistant from the star. But describe this video.
So yeah, we were just like randomly recording it just to see what would happen, like if we would catch anything. And our buddy, he catches it. It literally expands and then implodes, like in a matter of like a split second. Like you can catch it on the video very clearly.
It looked like a firework almost, and then it shot back into itself.
It implodes.
Yeah.
And becomes itself again.
And then just starts flashing colors.
We also got 2 other pictures that like show one It's kind of shaped like a saucer. It looks more like an eye, in my opinion. But like, and then the picture that he got, you can see every distinct color in the rotation.
Yeah, so my camera didn't zoom in as good as your guys' did, and I zoomed in as far as I could, took a picture, then I zoomed in on the picture, screenshotted it, zoomed in again, and kept doing that, and it's just like a weird like cloud almost, and it's like multiple colors. Yeah, it almost looks like a fucking galaxy. And you Bocker, you were about what, like 30-40 minutes south of here, and you said you saw it too?
I did not see it do the thing that you guys said. You guys showed me the video that it did, but I saw something in the sky that was like flashing different lights and stuff. But I only saw it for about maybe 10 minutes, and then I went inside because
It was very cold.
It was very cold.
Yeah, it was very cold.
We were pretty drunk. We were sitting on the porch for like an hour, just fucking sipping on some beers
Getting
and fucking
frostbite.
watching this shit. I was mesmerized. But that video was fucking insane, dude. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
He got like another video of it doing it later on in the night.
Yeah,
too.
it did it multiple times throughout the night.
Yeah, and we caught it with our own eyes too.
I wish we had a fucking telescope. That's the other thing too. The explosion and then implosion. We couldn't see that with the naked eye. We could only see that super zoomed in on that video.
Yeah.
Which I found pretty crazy too. But it was interesting for me too because I had previously I've been reading up on some UFO shit and I've been seeing a lot of shit around the country. There's the sighting over LA recently. There's a lot of shit on the Joe Rogan podcast and everything. And I just had like this distinct feeling like one of these days, very soon, like I'm gonna see a fucking UFO. And dude, we saw a fucking UFO, man.
Yeah, it's pretty solid proof. I feel we got. I mean, you can vividly see it.
Yeah.
See the shape. You see the motion it's doing. And it's honestly it baffles me that our first weeks living here we saw that.
Yeah, it was strange, man.
Yeah, I couldn't explain it.
I didn't really know how to feel afterwards. It was
Funny story, real quick. Do you remember we tried to play the video back and we played it back in half speed?
Oh yeah, right. I recorded a video in slow motion.
And we were very drunk at the time.
Yeah, because we saw that and then we came inside, got really drunk
this
afterwards.
was probably
We were
like
just
an hour and a
fuck.
half down the road.
Yeah.
And we played it back in half speed, but we didn't know that your phone starts out the video normally.
Right, and then about 2 seconds in it goes to slow motion.
Yeah. So we straight up thought these aliens were communicating with us.
Yeah.
Like, we're
It
like,
sounded
oh my
super
God.
demonic, and we kept trying to like alter the video and speed it up and shit, but we couldn't get it to the right speed, so like it just was like our voices in slow motion. And finally we took another video in slow motion and our voices sounded like that, and we were all just like like sigh of relief and a half. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting fucking experience, man. I'm glad, one, that there was multiple people, and two, that there was video.
Video proof.
Because, like, dude, that's the thing. When you talk about shit like this, people just look at you like you're crazy. Like, I was actually talking to this one chick, right? And I've been talking to this chick for a while, and I don't know, it was the type of thing where, like, this chick was all sending hearts, all fucking this and that, over text, but then every time I tried to meet up in person, she's like, oh, no, I don't want to meet up in person, made some excuse, right? So I was kind of getting over it anyways, like, I was kind of like, fuck this, yada, yada, yada. But I told her, I was like, yo, like, I just saw a UFO, craziest shit I've ever seen. She's just like, she knows I quit smoking weed, quit doing drugs and shit. I just drink from time to time and vape now. I don't smoke cigarettes, don't smoke weed, none of that bullshit. No cocaine, none of that, right? She knows this. I've told her this, right? And she's like, oh, are you on drugs? And I'm just like, nope. Just drinking a little bit, saw a UFO. And she's like, oh, well, fucking, it was probably just a drone. UFOs aren't real. And like, I just was like, you're not worth my fucking time. I haven't talked to her since.
Right? Anybody that has that kind of outlook on life is just kind of pointless talking to anyways.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, man. It's just whatever. But this has been a very interesting podcast. We got into a lot of crazy topics tonight. I enjoyed myself. Chase, you got anything to say before we end it?
It was a good time. Check out...
What do you want them to check out?
I was going to say Hightide podcast, but they're already checking that out.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Check out Done Beezy on Spotify.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's right. You have some shit on Spotify, man.
Yeah.
That's a huge step. Ed, you have anything you want to say before we end it off? All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed. I will catch you on the next episode, and hopefully we'll have some video in the next couple of weeks here.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all.